Quick announcement before we jump into the episode. The 8-week parenting pivot where you'll learn how to implement Connect Method parenting, get your kids to want to listen to you, is starting October 28th. Head over to cmp.works/pivot to find out more. Are you willing to allow people not to like you because you're so committed to being yourself no matter what? Welcome to the Connect Method Parenting Podcast, where correction is out, connection is in, and your kids want to listen to you. I'm Andy Martineau, creator of Connect Method Parenting, here to help you stay calm, confident, and connected no matter what. Welcome back, everybody. How are you? Happy Monday. You ready for another episode of Connect Method Parenting? That's what we're going to do today. Cannot wait to dive into being more likable. Something we talk about a lot inside of League. And I've actually been thinking about all you guys in League, whether you're in Pivot or Mastery. Doing this episode, I'm dedicating it to you. Everybody's welcome to listen along. But if you're in League, I specifically curated this episode so that we can take some of the topics that we've been diving into League to the next level on the podcast and then jump into office hours so we can dive even deeper in it. Plus, your baseline knowledge of Connect Method Parenting is going to allow you to hear what I'm saying at a deeper level and apply it at a different level than you were if this was your first pass. But this episode is going to benefit everyone because, hello, we are all, or I shouldn't say all, there's some of you who maybe aren't, but what I have found is a lot of us parents are people pleasers. So we're going to dive into this today. Cannot wait. First, I just have to say that we hit the 1-year birthday of the Connect Method Parenting podcast. If you missed it, it happened. October 3rd, we hit it, dropped a new episode about some pretty fun. I'm going to call it fun because it was a great learning experience about drama that came up for me in a train station in Berlin. If you haven't listened to it, go take a listen. If you've been thinking, haven't been able to sleep at night because you've been wondering, what do I get the Connect Method Parenting podcast for this little birthday celebration we have celebrated? We're enjoying. I'm kind of elongating it because it's such a big deal to me. What I want to say is just go give it a review. That's what the podcast would love. That's what I would love from you all who have been listening and enjoying the episodes that I've been creating for you all. All right, on to the meat of today. We're halfway through Barcelona. It's been so amazing. One of my favorite things about being in a big city is that you get to walk everywhere. We walk down the street to get to the bus station, to get our bread, to get some pharmacy stuff that we've needed. We walk every single place we go. It's so different than what I'm used to at home, because at home we're just walking a few steps to the car, get in the car, walk a few steps into this place. This is a lot of walking. We are consistently hitting 10,000 steps every day, and we're slow traveling. So we're not going bananas every day. We're going to see one thing most days, and we hit the gym and we go out and explore the city in some small way, but we're still hitting a ton of steps just because of the difference in how the city works. And I love it. And this new change of pace has really forced me to slow down, slow down. As a result, I've had a lot of thinking time as we're going on buses, as I'm walking. I always, as you've heard me talk before on the podcast, I love to walk. I always have loved to walk, but I'm walking a lot more, and it's a different kind of walk, because before I would walk and I would do either my learning walk, my quiet walk, my connecting walk, and I had this purpose that was really dedicated to me. Now I'm walking out of practicality as a way of getting my needs met, which is very different. And it's been fantastic. I'll dive into that more later. But what I wanted to say is that all of this downtime has really helped me focus in and I've been thinking about you guys a lot on the podcast. I've been thinking about all the listeners. I've been thinking a ton about everybody who's in League or who's about to come into the next pivot, which, by the way, if you didn't hear, we moved the last pivot of the year. This is the 8-week parenting pivot where I teach you the entire Connect Method parenting framework in 8 weeks. It's fantastic. Over the course of this year, we've been studying Connect Method parenting, doing a study on it, and the results that we've gotten have been 200 plus improvement in listening, feeling more confident, feeling like they're navigating tricky situations in a way that they really respect. So if you want to jump in, it's starting October 28th. Applications will end the 26th, which is the Saturday before at midnight Pacific time. And if you are a little confused because you thought it was going to happen earlier, you're right. It was going to happen earlier, but I just totally overestimated what I would be able to do as we embarked on this 6-month international travel. So we bumped it back a couple of weeks. So it's going to be fantastic, and it's starting soon. Go get your applications in at cmp.works/pivot. But enough talk about that. Let's talk about what we're going to dive into today on the episode. The episode is dedicated to all of you people pleasers out there. I get you. I am you. I want to have a fun conversation about it. This is an important topic. It gets in the way of us creating the life we want way too much, and it doesn't need to. So we're going to unpack it today. We're going to talk about how to be more likable. This is something that comes up all of the time when I'm coaching parents. I've got a lot of people pleasers who want their kids to like them, who want validation from their partners, from their neighbor, from their friends, from their mother-in-law. They like it from everybody. I get it, because it feels good when people validate us externally, but it doesn't satiate the real need. So we're going to dive into that today. I'm going to talk about being more likable, because this is something that so many of us struggle with, and we don't even realize it. We do it without thinking about it. So that's what we're diving into today. And I'm going to talk to you as if I'm coaching you about people pleasing. You ready? Ready for this? The first question I want to ask you is why? Why do you want to be more likable? I know this seems Captain Obvious, but oftentimes it's the Captain Obvious things that our brains try to skip right over and we miss it. So yes, it's obvious, but I want you to take a minute and I want you to really think about it. Now you might say to yourself, well, duh, I want people to like me. Doesn't everybody want to be liked? Okay, true. Noted. Yet, I want you to really think about it. Really think about your answer. Why do you want to be more likable? Remember all of the stuff I've taught you on the podcast, or if you're in League, think about all of the work that we've done as we've learned and implemented Connect Method Parenting together in League. And answer it again. Why do you want to be more likable? Do you have your answer? You got it? Okay, let's say it together on 3 and see if our answers match. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Because of how you think you will feel. Or said more simply, because of a feeling. Okay, were we a match? If you're in League, I bet we were, or you were pretty close. Everyone else listening, you might be surprised by the answer. Either way, let's keep going, because if we had the same answer, that's only just scratching the surface of the understanding I want you to walk away with today. So yes, we want people to like us because of how we think it will feel. Okay? So the reason why we want anything, and in this case, we want to be more likable, is because of how we think we will feel when people like us. We want to be likable because then we will be liked. And we believe if people like us, we will feel accepted. And if we feel accepted, then we will feel like we belong. And if we feel like we belong, then we think we will feel loved. And who doesn't want to feel that emotion? Love. I just did a whole episode on how crazy good it feels to experience the emotion of unconditional love, regardless of how other people are acting or behaving. I think I ended up calling it something like increasing your capacity for unconditional love or something like that. It's before this one. So go listen to it if you haven't, because it was good. And it dives into why we will do almost anything to feel the emotion of love. In fact, if you haven't listened to that episode, pause right now. Just pause. Go find it, because having that foundation of increasing your capacity for unconditional love is going to help you take this conversation we're having today to the next level. Okay, so I want you to ask yourself, are you liking yourself enough? Or are you wanting other people to do that job for you? Now, the reason I ask you that question is because, of course, that's exactly what I did. I created a lot of suffering for myself when I found myself wanting people to like me. So many of us suffer with this. It's painful because we want other people to do the job of liking us instead of us do the job of liking us. We think, hey, if my partner, if my child, if my mother, if my friend will accept me, will like me, if they would just take care of that part for me, then I wouldn't have to do it as much for myself. Or maybe we even think it's not possible for us to do it for ourselves unless they do it as well. Not saying that's what you're doing, because maybe you're not, but I'm guessing there's a good chance you are. So I want you to ask yourself these 2 questions. First, am I wanting others to like me because it makes it easier for me to like myself? Second, why, oh, why, oh, why do I want to be likable so badly? Why do I want my friends and my family and my kids and my partner and my neighbor and my dog, kidding but not kidding, when we walk in the house and our sheepadoodle, who's the cutest dog in the whole wide world, her name's Leia, if she doesn't pay attention to somebody, they seriously are so sad, because the reality is it feels so good to be liked by the people or animals that we love in our life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Togetherness and strong relationships with our tribe ensures survival. It was so critical when we were younger. But as we get older, we don't need others to like us like we did when we were young. Our survival, our life is not threatened if they don't like us. So this need for togetherness or to be liked can become counterproductive. And instead of increasing our ability to like ourselves, we keep searching for reassurance that others like us. This is searching for external validation versus internal validation. Why do we do this? Because being liked feels good, and because when we were younger, it was critical for our survival. But as we grow older, we don't need that same kind of relationship to survive. We want it still, but we don't need it to ensure our survival. However, our brain sometimes doesn't catch on to that because it's so programmed for togetherness. So the next question I want you to ask yourself is, why aren't you feeling that good emotion that you feel when you know somebody likes you right now, regardless of how much others like you? Why are we relying on other people to create that feeling for us? When you rely on other people to create a feeling for you, they always fail. Why? Because it's impossible for people to create a feeling inside of you. They can't like you enough to make up for you not liking yourself. Make sense? We create our emotions based on how we think. Now, if we think our mom loves us or does love us or likes us, or our friend loves us or likes us, yeah, it's going to be easier for us to have a thought like, oh, I'm a good person. I like myself. That's natural, that's easy. But what we developmentally get to is, regardless of what other people think, we still like ourselves a lot. We don't need their reassurance to tell us we're good enough to be liked. So ask yourself, why do you want to be likable? What does it mean when someone likes you? Think about it. What does it mean when others like you? Does it mean that you're good enough, that you're worthy, that you're important? What are you making it mean when someone likes you? Why do you want to be likable? I really want you to think about this. I know I'm asking it 500 different ways because it's important. We might have a preference that's different than theirs. We think that this fruit is the juiciest, best fruit, like Brea's love of mangoes. But then there's people who are literally allergic to the fruit we love so much. They hate it. It makes them feel sick. They don't want to ever see another mango again in their life. If someone doesn't like a mango, we don't say, oh, it's the mango's fault. We don't blame the mango, and we don't blame the other person. We don't hold it against them that they're allergic to mangoes and they don't like mangoes at all. It's okay to not like mangoes. It doesn't say anything about the mango. It doesn't say anything about the person who doesn't like the mango. It simply says that there's someone who doesn't prefer that kind of fruit. So think about this in the context of what we're talking about today. If someone doesn't like you, it doesn't mean anything about you. Maybe you're just not their flavor. You're just not their kind of fruit. Maybe you're not their style. That's it. The mango doesn't get upset because Brea's friend doesn't like it. It just keeps being a mango. Waits for someone else to come along to appreciate it. And if someone doesn't like you, I want you to think about what you make it mean about you. You might be making it mean something painful because you want to be more likable. You want these people who don't prefer your amazing flavor to like you because you think that them not liking you means something about you. But what if it just means that you're not their preference, and that's okay? I tell the parents I work with all of the time, give permission, including your kids, not to like you, so that you don't get triggered or needy or graspy about it. What if we all had the courage to be disliked and not make it mean anything? Because the truth is, others have permission to like or not like us anyway. So what if we intentionally just gave other people permission to not like us? That would feel so much better. That would help you feel more in control. You have permission. I'm totally fine. I'm giving you permission. You can totally not like me. I'm not everybody's flavor. You know, there's a lot of people out there who may not like you. They may not like me. I've had people not like me because I tell them that consequences don't really create sustainable results. They don't really create kids who want to listen to us, and that punishments aren't useful to create what most parents are after, which is great relationships, impact and influence, emotionally sound and resilient kids. Not useful punishments. They don't create that, which is totally fine when somebody says, I don't agree with you. I had trouble with that at first because I so desperately wanted everyone to like me, and I wanted everyone to hear what I had learned about so that they could be applying it in their lives and make this huge difference. But it's totally fine that they don't agree with me. Having that courage to be disliked is so empowering. It also helps you come across a lot more confident in yourself, which resonates with people. I had a dear friend call me out on Facebook. It's probably been 5 years now about my view about punitive consequences. At first, it was shocking to my system, really hard to hear. And it was over probably a week that this interchange went back and forth, and my Facebook page blew up, and I had hundreds and hundreds of comments, people on both sides of the argument. It was really fascinating. And throughout that process, I challenged myself to give permission to all of the people who didn't agree with me. They didn't need my permission, right? Because people have permission regardless. But me going through the act of saying, hey, I give you my permission. You can totally dislike all of things I'm saying. You can dislike me because I have this opinion, helped me get through it. And at the end of that back and forth, I was able to message this friend and say, hey, just want to let you know, I love and appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your opinion. I think ultimately we have the same goals in mind, because I do believe that she's a great mom and that she ultimately wants her kids to be successful too. So I could genuinely say that in a really clean, emotional place. I was able to message her, truly feel love for her, and give her as much space and permission from me to her, even though she didn't need it, to say, hey, you are welcome to disagree with me. And she does. She just completely disagrees with me. It's totally fine. It's okay if they don't like mangoes. It's all good. Plenty of people do. If I'm a mango, some people are going to love me. Some people are going to be allergic to me. I'm just going to keep on being a mango. Or maybe you feel more like a peach or a raspberry, one of my favorite fruits, by the way, and be you. And then give permission to everyone else to either like you or not like you. This is what it looks like to have the courage to be disliked. Here's my theory. If I show up as myself, the people who get to know me will really know and like me for me, which is how I want to be for my kids too. I want my kids to really know and like me, not some weird version of how I think I should be, or how I think my mom thinks I should be, or how I think that a parent should be based on a book I read. I want to be me, authentically me, something that aligns with who I am at my core. Now, if I show up for people and I'm so worried about them liking me that I'm not even an authentic version of myself, I'm creating this tweaked version of myself in order to be more likable, then who are they going to like? If they do like me, let's say they fall in love with this altered version of myself, they're not even going to like me. So let's think about this. Let's say you ask me, you come to me and you say, Andy, how can I be more likable? And I wouldn't ever do this, but let's say I'm really formulaic about this and I say, okay, here's what I have found creates people who are likable. They smile a lot. They send people gifts. They dress really well. They post these really beautiful aesthetic pictures on Instagram. And I give you this long list of what it will require of you to be likable. And we just copy paste. So as you're going through your life, you start trying to smile more and give gifts, dress better, and post all these pictures. And let's say none of these things come naturally to you, but you don't even care. And let's say they don't even feel authentic to you. You don't like posting aesthetic pictures on Instagram. You don't like giving gifts. You like to dress in the style you've always dressed, and you don't want to dress in the trends, or smiling is hard for you around people you don't know. Let's say none of this list that I create for you resonates, but you go around and you force yourself to smile, give gifts. You go get a whole bunch of new clothes that you feel really uncomfortable with. You're posing like crazy on Instagram, all the beautiful, unrealistic pictures, but it's not really you and you feel icky. I'm not saying learning and growing and stretching yourselves in areas is a bad thing. I love pushing myself in areas, but if you are doing it to get people to like you versus, hey, I actually do want to learn how to smile more around people, And I'm doing it not because I want people to like me, but just because I want to grow. Totally different. Do you see it? But if you're faking it and it's not genuine, and then let's say people do start liking you when you're doing something that doesn't feel genuine, they're liking some new version of you that you're pretending to be instead of this new version of you that you want to grow into. So first and foremost, decide if you're willing to be yourself no matter what. And are you willing to allow people not to like you because you're so committed to being yourself no matter what? If you can remember that, if sometimes someone doesn't like you, it's because they don't prefer your flavor. They don't like mangoes, they like peaches, or they like raspberries. If you believe this, then when that person doesn't like you, you'll remember it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them, and that's okay. You don't need to change so everyone can like you. It's not even possible for everyone to like you. I mean, how much freedom would you have if you thought about it that way? And with our kids, it's the same thing. If I show up authentically me and I feel good, I respect the person I'm being, it's okay if they don't like me in that moment. It sets me free. Now, I want to use a scenario to illustrate this point a little bit more. Let's say you have come to this conclusion that your husband's family doesn't like you and you hate going to family gatherings because your perception is they're so mean and judgmental. Well, the reason you don't like going to the family gatherings is not because the people aren't liking you. It's because of what you're making it mean that they don't like you and what you're thinking about yourself as a result. What you're thinking about is what creates your emotions. So if you go to your husband's family gathering and you're thinking the entire time about how your husband's family doesn't like you, and you're making that mean something negative about them and probably something negative about you, then it's going to be a bad experience and you're going to have a bad day. But if you go to your husband's family gathering and you think, I'm just the mango that I am, and you show up and you work on your thoughts and you create these beautiful emotions when you show up there, you're not going to be so worried about whether his family likes you or not because you're going to be so confident in who you are. And I'm just going out on a limb here, but I got to ask you this question because when I was working through this myself, I had this realization that I was doing this. So here's the question. Are you trying to get his family to like you? Do you wish they liked you? And have you done some extra stuff to help them see what a good person you are? If so, you might be coming off as creepy. I'm not saying you're doing this. I'm saying this because I've done this. I have tried to get people to like me. And when I try to get people to like me, I start acting like a crazy person. I can reflect back on a few situations that I'm slightly embarrassed about right now. But at the time I was doing my best, where I stopped showing up as myself because I was so desperately trying to get someone to like me. I was just this creepy, needy, graspy person. And as a result, sent subliminal messages like, please like me. Oh, please, please like me. Everybody likes me. Why don't you like me? I'll do anything if you like me. Didn't say that out loud, but that's what I was thinking. And when I did this once with a friend that all of a sudden things turned really weird, the relationship had been super close and all of a sudden just wasn't close and I wasn't sure what had happened. And instead of just accepting, hey, I guess she doesn't like mangoes anymore, maybe she suddenly got allergic to me, I went into this weird mode of trying to get her to like me. And I would randomly text her, I'd drop off flowers. Yes, I did. I dropped off flowers at her door, some random gifts. I'd try to talk to her when we were in the same social gathering. It's really humbling, very humbling looking back on the experience because I was in such a weird place of needing her to like me so that I would feel good about myself. At the time, I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. Now, when I look back, I can't imagine why she didn't fall for my weird attempts to get her to like me. It was the best learning experience ever. Looking back now, I understand what was happening and I see it clearly, how it meant nothing about me and she was going through some really weird stuff. But I didn't see that at the time because I was so insecure with myself that I needed her to like me to validate myself. So just think about that. When you show up as yourself and when you have confidence and you have an opinion that other people can take you or leave you, that's so attractive. That's so magnetic. But when we show up and we're thinking, please like me, please, please, please like me, I need your validation. It is not attractive. It is not magnetic. People are like, whoa, what is happening? So again, we want to show up and think things like, I like me. I'm not perfect, but I'm good enough. And I don't need external validation to continue to like myself. When we do this, people are thinking, whoa, she really likes herself. She must really be onto something there. I'm going to see what's up with that. It's attractive. People that are happy, that are not only enjoying themselves, but enjoying their own company, they are so fun to be around. We like to be around people that are enjoying themselves. So are you willing to be yourself? Are you willing to be yourself in such a way that you allow other people not to like you, including your kids, especially those teenagers? When our teenagers start not liking us or pull away, which could just be the natural developmental process they're going through, or it could be because they're going through hormones and maybe they are just being dramatic or unkind. Can we let them have that experience and not make it mean anything about us? Our brain might say, they don't like me right now. They might even say, I don't like you right now. Can we be okay with it? Because that energy of holding confidence in ourselves, liking ourselves, regardless of what our teens are thinking, is so powerful. You want them to be drawn to you, show up like that. So that's the first thing is, are you willing to be yourself in such a way that you allow other people not to like you? So I think that's the most important first piece of this equation, of this puzzle. Second of all, I want you to imagine what it is they don't like about you. Maybe they've told you what they don't like about you. And if they have, I want you to think about that feedback and think, is that something that I don't like about myself? I mean, do you have habits that are annoying? Do you talk about yourself all day? Do you cut in to people and never give them a chance to speak? Or are you not a good listener? What do people say? What have they noticed? What have they told you? And are you willing to really hear it? Are you willing to really be in the space of curiosity and compassionately evaluate yourself? Self-confrontation. So if you can evaluate yourself from a place of love and acceptance, you might see things that you do want to change about yourself, that you want to up-level, that you want to stretch, that you want to grow in. So look at that. Sometimes we're unaware of things that we do that turn people off. If a mom came to me and said, I'm really struggling with my teenager, and I think it's because of something I'm doing, I would ask that mom, okay, go ask your teenager for their feedback. See if there's anything they would suggest that you change. Then based on the feedback, I would say, do you want to make that change so that your teenager likes you more? Or do you want to make that change because you feel like that would be a positive change for you? Do you see the difference? Being aware of why other people don't like you and then making sure you like your reasons for making the change. And it's not just so they like you more, but you really want to grow in that way is a really positive, wonderful thing. I think anytime we can evolve into a better version of ourselves, I'm all in. But don't change so that other people will like you. Change because you want to be a better version of yourself. But let's say you figure out why someone doesn't like you and you're at peace with that part of you. Then you want to think really hard before changing it. Let me give you an example. I'm kind of loud. I'm learning to tone it down. But in 9th grade, the drama teacher told me, and he said I was the only student he ever told this to. He was standing in the back of the Taylor Junior High auditorium in Mesa, Arizona. And he said, you've got to be quieter. And he said, I never have told that to another student. And it was a great reflection of who I am. I get loud. I get excited. I have really big emotions. I would say I'm highly sensitive. I can't help but feel big, big, big emotions. And I have some kids who are super loud like me and love how loud and big I am and extra I am. And I have some kids who aren't as loud as me. And sometimes they tell me to be quiet. I love dancing, which by the way, I'm not really that good at, but I really love it. I love laughing, which by the way, I used to be really self-conscious about it because I laugh with my body more than my voice even. I do both, but my sister Allison and I, we both have what we call body laughs. Like these quiet laughs that sometimes get really loud, but also just oftentimes look like we're convulsing. And then I have two sisters, Darby and Stacy, who have great laughs and kind of make fun of us for our laughs. But I like to laugh a lot, no matter how I laugh. And people think I laugh on purpose, and they're right. I really love laughing. I love having a good time. I love being silly. I love making a fool of myself sometimes when I want to. We were walking down the streets of Barcelona last week and it was late and there was hardly anybody on the street when we were getting in the place we were at least. And so we were just having the time of our lives singing Hamilton songs and dancing across crosswalks and a couple of my kids were skipping with me and being ridiculous with me, and a couple of them were not. So there is this fine balance of when I want to tone it down, not because I want people to like me, but just because I'm being respectful of other people's opinions. And when I'm okay being a little bit loud and extra, and my kids are not feeling like I'm embarrassing them, and I'm okay being me. But either way, I'm not going to tone myself down or try to not be myself, which is a little, in certain times, silly. My family calls me Andy after 10, and it feels like after 10 p.m., all the inhibitions really let go. And so I just become really even extra. And my point is that if I felt the need to tone it down, it would be because I wanted to, not because I wanted people to like me. And there's a difference. So I want you to be able to differentiate that. Does that make sense? So quick recap of everything we've talked about thus far. Ask yourself why you want to be more likable. If there is someone in your life that doesn't like you and you find yourself being needy and graspy to try to get them to like you, notice that. If you hear feedback from someone who doesn't like you and it resonates and it's something you want to change because you want to become a better version of yourself, lean into that. But if you want to change something just so people like you, be wary of that. And I want to talk about one more thing that's near and dear to me that is linked to that situation I was telling you about with that friend who for a period of time just really didn't like me. When she was so, what I would have said at the time, mean to me, I intentionally for a while chose not to like her, which made me feel pretty negative and icky. And so then I went to work, like I explained earlier, to try to get her to like me in that really creepy, needy way, which also didn't work. And finally, I slowly began to realize that maybe my work wasn't to get her to like me more, but maybe my work was to like her more. Now, I did not like this answer. I did not like this answer at all. I did not want to like this person because I wanted her to like me because I felt like it was her fault. The whole situation was her fault. And I was being very likable, and she was the one that was at fault here, which is really fascinating. So when I had this thought of maybe you should do the work to like her more, I felt like saying, wait a minute, I'm very likable. I've been very polite. I've been doing all the work to try to improve the relationship. I have been the nice person through this whole process, so she should like me. But that was not working. Let me just tell you, when I decided to do my work on liking this woman, all of that needy and creepy, weird, graspy energy went away. And you know what? I found a way to like her. I focused on her likable parts, and I started to feel tremendously better. Now, I'm not suggesting that you have to like everyone, but notice if you're trying to get someone to like you, I want you to ask yourself, do I even like them? Usually the answer is no. Have you made an effort to like them? We don't like people just because they're likable. We like people when we make a choice to like them. And that realization really changed that experience for me. So you all think about that person in your life that you want to be more likable to. You want them to like you more. Do you like them? Tell yourself the truth. Do you really like them? Because that will change everything. People want to be loved. They want to be liked. Every single one of us want to be loved. No matter how mean we are, no matter how obnoxious we are, no matter what we say, we all want to be loved. We all want to be liked. Nobody is going to turn away a genuine like, right? We'll all turn around a creepy, needy, graspy, desperate person trying to get us to like them. But if we genuinely like us and we are showing up trying to like them as a human, doesn't mean you need to be their bestie, doesn't mean you need to invite them over, but can I genuinely love them as a human, trying their best, and expect nothing in return? That's a hard thing to turn down. It feels amazing. So let's wrap this up. First, don't blame yourself when someone doesn't like you. Second, give people permission not to like you. They already have permission, but give them that permission. It'll feel so good. And finally, and this is the best part, like the secret ingredient, just because someone doesn't like you doesn't mean you have to not like them. That's the truth. You can like whoever you want, even if they don't like you, right? Being likable is overrated. Liking other people, that is where the real magic is. All right, you all, I loved this conversation. If you're in league, come tell me what you thought about it. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while and you haven't had a chance to leave a review, I would love that so much. Super simple. If you open up the Apple Podcast app and scroll down to the bottom, click write a review. That would mean the world to me, trying to get Connect Method Parenting out to as many parents as possible. And remember, the parenting pivot is starting on the 28th. So we've pushed it back because we're traveling right now. I'm traveling right now, rather, and I overestimated what I could do. So we had to push it back a couple of weeks. So you've still got a little bit of time if you're listening to this live where you can join. So go over to cmp.works/pivot. I'll include the link in the show notes, or you can just go to Connect Method Parenting and find out all the details as well. All right, you all. Thank you so much for being here. Love these conversations we have together. We'll talk to you next time. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, check out the last 8-week parenting pivot that we're doing this year. It's starting October 28th. It was going to start sooner, but I'm currently traveling internationally with my family and I overestimated how productive I'd be, so we pushed it back a couple of weeks. The pivot is where you're going to learn the entire Connect Method Parenting framework in just 8 weeks, helping you have more cooperation, better listening, transitioning from corrective to connective parenting so that your kids actually want to listen to you. If you've been listening to the podcast and you love what we talk about here, but you're having trouble making that transition in your home, this is the ticket for you. It's the last pivot of the study also, which means that you can participate basically for free. In 8 weeks, you put a $200 deposit down. If you go through the entire pivot and do all of the things I ask so that we can track the progress and the results that Connect Method Parenting has in your home, then you get the deposit back at the end, which is so fantastic. Go to cmp.works/pivot. You're going to get all the details there. This is an 8-week parenting boot camp. It is not for the faint of heart, but it's for those who are really ready for a change. If you want to figure out how to get your kids to want to listen to you, if you want to feel more confident in your parenting, you're going to want to come jump in the pivot. I'm going to show you step by step how you go from correction-based techniques to connection-based techniques. We're not going to use consequences, threats, timeouts, any of that anymore. We're going to replace it with a connection-based framework. You're going to get better results and feel so much better. And let's have a little bit of fun. So if you're ready, jump over to cmp.works/pivot. You can get all of the info there. We're starting October 28th. I'm going to finish this with some comments from other parents who have gone through previous pivots, which, by the way, the average is 200% plus increase in listening, confidence, feeling more capable of showing up in a connective, not corrective way. So I'll drop their comments here. Take a listen. And if you're interested, go over to cmp.works/pivot. I'll put it in the show notes too. Hope to see you there. We'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.
Are we only 2 weeks in? It's like night and day already. There's just been this total shift.
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like I've packed in 20 years of counseling or something. Just seeing so much gold coming out of him as I've changed my belief about him in that situation and erased the 20-year-long narrative attached.
Our hearts are so connected. So yeah, that has been really good. Thank you. I'm so grateful. And this really has been huge, such an answer to prayer for us.
I just can never express how great this has been and how thankful I am. It's been everything. It's been so good.
I really, really see the change.